we have built in our community an infrastructure that is quite beautiful. And our parklands, our wetlands, our habitats have been destroyed. We have pictures here. We understand that there's 2 programs that Con Ed currently has running, and that is the distribution lines. Once they identify a distribution line, they supposedly tag the houses in that area, and those are the ones that run from telephone pole in front of your houses. And that's one department. The other department is the high tension wire, which I think from the people I polled initially, when they came in, a lot of the people here did live near those high tension wires, and in some cases they're adjacent to our property or in our backyards. And we have had our backyards totally cut down, and the trees that are in some cases, a few residents have told me 100 years old, just dropped and left there.
And it seems to me the PSC could be involved in a number of different areas in terms of making sure that there is at least a standard of what is sent out, what the expectation should be in terms of any communication of this nature, and how we can make sure that communities and residents, etc., aren't devastated.
We actually had a work stoppage on Con Edison in the village. It had Con Edison up here to present to us their process literally 4 days before the attack on Hagen Park happened.
Seeing is just clear cutting 130 feet. There's a complete disregard for the 30 to 60, 60 to 90, and 90 to 120 foot gradations. That doesn't apply. It's just, you know, send in the buzz saws and cut them down. And to houses and communities where trees and, you know, sort of where this is a green Westchester where that's important, this is a very painful, destructive process.
There have been a lot of people, including myself, who never were noticed. Con Ed insists that they go out and they leave these notices. I heard from a lot of people in the community, no notices, nothing on the door. Well, you might not have seen it, you might have thought it was something else, but no notices at all. Government agency that should be here serving everybody in a way that's leaving everybody feeling positive.
I think what we're looking for is, where's the sensitivity to the environment? Who's responsible for this? We want to see Con Ed, or whoever's responsible for granting Con Ed the permission to do what they did, to take responsibility for what was done. And I think we want to see some accountability on the part of Con Ed. I think
we need to stop the work as soon as possible, so it doesn't happen again, and then look at it and with a set of guidelines that are more reasonable.
Apologize for our fire. We thought we were walking a right of way today. And also we're a little bit unprepared if you want to talk about the distribution system, because we focus on transmission. If they're concerned about a specific tree, they're going to have to negotiate that with the landowner. To the extent that a tree or ornamentals or shrubs are taken down and they don't have property rights under one of those 3 mechanisms, then they're doing something wrong, and there should be damages associated with that.
The fact that people don't know what they're planning to do makes it impossible for them to say to Con Ed, wait a minute, you know, this is not your property, you don't have easement for this or whatever, whether it's a village that has experienced that or whether it's an individual thing. The fact is that it's always understood after the fact.
I live at the Pleasantville Country Club, and water from the reservoir is, when it rains heavily, is increased quite a bit by the hills on Lake Street and beyond that on Bear Ridge Road.
All of these trees that she's talking about.
Yeah, the removal of the vegetation.
This is the park, and this is what they were cutting yesterday. This is beyond the reservoir that she's talking about, and all those trees there are gone.
And if you have an arborist, as you say you do, then the arborist should know that a lilac is not growing as tall as a tulip, nor as tall as an oak, that a maple doesn't grow as tall as taller than a dogwood. There would be some variance given there for the growth of trees.
I understand what you're saying. I'm a fire chief in town. I have to sit out when trees get into the wires, and we sit there and we have to wait for the utility company to show up, and everybody's like, well, what's the fire department doing there? I've witnessed firefighters getting shocked from here to there from a wire down. So I understand all that, I understand the safety. I'm also a biologist, an engineer, I've got a lot of things behind my name. I've watched this, this is my wife, I'm her door, but when you look at it, if there's an arborist, a biologist or somebody there that's looking at it, any one of these people that, like they mentioned, that were down cutting these trees, you're talking, you know what you're cutting down? Yeah, it's a tree. What kind of tree is that? Well, I don't know. I mean, that tree's been there for 100 years. And some of these trees that the citizens here are referencing to, and I understand your right-of-ways, I mean, that's a black and white line. I'm doing it right now with hydrants for a GPS and safety and everything else. So I'm very sensitive to all that, but I'm also sensitive to people's backyards. I mean, if this tree is only this tall, and you say, yeah, it's all gonna grow back, it's almost equivalent to going down to the Amazon and watching them just clear cut the Brazilian rainforest for wooden money the way they're cutting. I mean, they're just going for money. Here, they're just being told, here's that straight line, anything in here, it's gotta be cut.
My office will be able to follow up, and again, we will do the same in Greenberg and other places so that there is something that we will be able to do to make this better.
The commission has failed in its responsibility to those who it is supposed to protect. And instead, instead it is assumed, optimistically I think, that the answer to a question to Con Ed will be an honest answer, in the absence of any evidence whatsoever historically that that is the case. I believe that the commission's job should have been to stop and then find out.
They're cutting from Broadway across the aqueduct to the pool. And they did it yesterday from Broadway back to the Allen plant. They are not stopping.
That chipping right now that's going in front of your house is going to kill the ground. It's dirt now. It's going to be mud, and there's...
That's 21 years. They were cutting slow-growing cedars that were originally planted as bushes. They were cutting shrubs. There were huge piles of wood chips just all over.
I'm James Holden. I live at 52 Blancheville Lane. I have a right-of-way across the aqueduct, and I had on the order of a dozen to 16 hemlocks. Several weeks ago, Con Ed came along and said they needed to be trimmed. No problem. That's been done over the years to a height of about 10 to 15 feet. And I received a call late on Thursday afternoon that all of them were being cut right down. And so all of them were taking, it's devastation.
This problem is to get rid of these towers, put them underground, put them in the aqueduct pipe, in a sleeve of pipe, and this way we do not have to worry about shorts, we don't have to worry about trees, and environmentally we'll be a lot better off.
I'm Jennifer Frawley, 36 Broadway. I back onto the DEP Allen plant, and they just completely and totally eliminated every living bush and tree behind my house in the past 3 days.
I am a trustee at the Village of Pleasantville, and we've had a very good interaction today between the Senator Cousins and the representatives from the PSC, pardon me, and there's a lot of very upset residents regarding the tree cutting that's going on with Con Ed, and we're hoping we can get to some type of resolution with this, and I think this is a great start.
The reason why the Public Service Commission is here today is to help us better understand the issues that is faced with the community. Clearly there are passions, but we want to hear and we want to try to help you to the best of our ability.
I think this was a very important meeting because people had an opportunity to tell the representatives of the Public Service Department how devastating some of the clear cutting has been. They've had an opportunity to express what needs to happen, as we all have, to make sure that in the name of safety we are not destroying the environment, we are not destroying the aesthetics, and that we are really just achieving the goal of safety. So we will be following up. We're going on to Greenberg now, and hopefully what happens here will just be the beginning of regulations that will stop things that have absolutely nothing to do with requiring safety.